Mr. Allen was called a selfish, unreliable, and uncaring father by the judge. In his own words, Mr. Allen, who was the first witness, said that she hadn't really been a good parent. Woody Allen paid child support for 25 years. Help for Farrow. Ronan. He took care of him like a son. He never asked anything, but Allen wrote something in 2020 that shocked everyone. To his own account, he said he wasn't sure if Ronan was really his kid. Allen finally said what people wanted to hear after decades of silence. Mentioned for many years. The truth has to do with Frank Sinatra and hidden pictures in a nursery and a secret that changes everything. What Allen found out will make you think again about everything you thought you knew about the most famous family scandal in Hollywood. Woody Allen grew up in that person was from Brooklyn and had the name Allen Stewart Koigsberg. Their mind moved quickly. More than everyone else. In 1955, he was only 20 years old but already making $1,500 a month. Week coming up with jokes for Sid Caesar's TV shows. That much cash in the middle 1950s wasn't real, but it came from a room full of eager artists like there was Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, and Neil Simon. All of them tried to get laughs with a fever and writing pages of jokes every night. Woody did his work quietly, kind of shyly. It felt different about the jokes he wrote, though. They had a nervous spark to them. By anyone who worked in TV in 1958 knew that he could turn a blank page into 10 funny jokes before dawn. And his good name made him do something bigger. He sent 15,000 jokes to The Tonight Show every year by 1957. That meant writing about 40 jokes every day, sometimes until his hands hurt. Squished. But the grind made him stronger. His voice got deeper and his timing got better. It became clearer to him, and he began to imagine what it would be like to stand on stage and tell those jokes himself instead of give them to someone else. He finally did it in 1960. Being in a small in clubs in New York like the Blue Angel, he told long, tense stories about his fears, his doctor, and his messy life, thoughts that made his brain work against him. It made people laugh. Real. It was not funny. There was no pattern to it. One man turned his head. Fears into something that everyone in the room could relate to. People paid more attention because they heard every joke has a piece of their own lives in it. In 1964, he was going to a stage off of Broadway with Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks. Their show mixed the energy of old comedy with the sharp wit of New York. Woody then slipped into it. With a strange beat. He spoke about death, love, and the awkward parts of life quickly and cleverly in a way that drew people in. Because of that success, records, TV shows, and the start of his career as a funny actor who knew how to make jokes smart without taking away from the fun. He kept working on the same shaky voice that would become his trademark. In 1965, a year later, he went to Broadway with Don't Drink the Water, a play about a Cold War comedy set in a made-up country in Eastern Europe. It went on for 261. The story was brought to life by Woody's combination of fear and wit. Take off like a train. He won a Tony Award for the play and showed that could make everyone laugh, even in a big hall where everything echoed. The show was made into a movie, which helped him reach more people and showed that his strange brand of humor could work. You can work anywhere. Then 1967 came along. A story called Play It Again, Sam, was written by him. About a movie critic named Alan Felix who kept saying that real life was a lot like Casablanca. It was a 453-minute play. Appearances and was nominated for 3 Tony Awards. Woody was in charge, putting his own fears and hurt feelings into the character. He played the part again when it was made into a movie in 1972. Bringing that same lonely charm to more people. It turned into one of the first times people really saw how well his mix of love, comedy, and worry worked as a single style. Take the Money, his first movie, came out in July 1969. And Run. The movie only cost $1.5 million to make and was shot in just. It only ran for 18 days, but it made $9 million and was the start of a new type of entertainment. Woody, he played Virgil Starkwell, a thief who was so bad at his job that he could barely hold a gun. Even though everything in the movie was crazy, it looked like a documentary. People laughed at fake interviews, newsreels that were staged, and painful statements, making their own crime movies. That style made it possible for more fake shows like Bananas and all the sex information you've ever wanted. But it was this first weird little movie that changed his life. Identity in the movies. He made things even worse in 1971 with Fruits. He played Fielding Mellish, a silly product tester who got famous in some way. The leader of a revolution by accident. The movie made about $2 million, $14 million, which surprised everyone with how well it did. It was only 15 minutes long. Days, and even the places in Rome could be rented for just $1,000 a day. It was mixed. A political comedy with a lot of silly parts, and its funniest parts became right away classics. Then 1977 came along. Annie Hall changed the way Americans laugh. Always. It cost $4 million to make and made more than $38 million. But the style gave it real power. There were pieces of the story in the memories, talking, dreams, and telling the truth. The Oscar went to Diane Keaton. Was named Best Actress, and Woody won for Best Director and Best Original Script. He changed parts of the story overnight, or even just minutes before shooting. They worked on a love story that felt real and messy. The cutting was done in split with screens, flashbacks, and direct addresses to the crowd. The show was very interesting to watch. Alvy Singer's face. Many people who watched said it felt like seeing their own love stories start to come together. It made Woody a societal figure instead of just a comedy star. After many years, he gave the world Manhattan. The city of Manhattan is lit up behind the black and white picture. The movie made $39 million and cost $8 million to make. The beginning scene set to Gershwin's Rappaport City in Blue became famous. Woody Isaac Davis was a writer who was having a hard time with love and getting older. The two of them with a character played by Mariel Hemingway who was 17 years old caused a lot of controversy. However, a lot of people liked the story and the pictures because they were so beautiful. The movie got him 3 Oscar nods and helped him become known as a great storyteller. During the 1980s, Woody worked so fast that it seemed impossible. During that decade, he made 10 movies. It cost $7 million to make and took 30 days to film. It came out in 1981. It made $10 million, but reviewers didn't like how it made fun of itself. In 1983, he made Zelig, which shocked people by adding his character. Using cutting-edge special effects, they turned old footage into real video. It won the Los Angeles Film Critics Award and showed that he could be creative with his movies' looks as well as funny. He put out the movie Hannah and Her Sisters in 1986. Made for $5 million, made $40 million, and won him another Oscar for Best Original Movie Script. Through all of these movies, he went from comedy to emotional drama, showing a range of art that not many others can match. Directors ever get to. Woody was making his world, and Mia Farrow was becoming a child in Hollywood. She was born in Los Angeles on February 9, 1945. Angeles is the daughter of John Farrow, a director, and Maureen O'Sullivan, an actor. Stars like Humphrey Bogart and B. Davis. Cameras and movies. Since she was a child, she has been around sets, late-night parties, and the stress of being famous. It looked beautiful from the she didn't see the stress behind the scenes, but she learned early on that fame came with dark sides. At age 9 she was old. She had to deal with something much scarier than Hollywood. In the summer of 1954, she got polio. Around 500 people in Los Angeles County got sick during an outbreak. She was sent to a ward where they could be alone for months. To stop the disease from spreading, her toys and clothes were set on fire. They were able to can only see her through a window once a week. She looked after other kids. Fight in iron lung machines, some of whom are dying, and have to deal with boiling hot conditions. She had blanket wraps put around her limbs. That event stuck with her and made her more caring for the rest of her life. She was 18 years old by 1963 and was cast as Allison Mackenzie on Peyton Place. The show ran 514 times. Episodes and became one of the most popular shows of the decade. Fans wrote her a lot of letters every day. Some had emotional notes and pieces of hair in them. This girl has a short pixie cut and she was a national star because of how innocent she looked. The new fame pushed her to act quickly. Toward movie parts, like in 1964's Guns at Batasi. Guns at Batasi was her first movie. She played Lucy when she was only 18. North and came out in September 1964. Critics said she was pure and had a lot of depth. She won the Golden Globe for New Star of the Year in January 1965. The leaders began to keep a close eye on her. Roman Polanski saw her and cast her in the movie that would make her famous 4 years later. She began in 1966. A wedding that made news around the world. She was 21 years old. He was 50 years old. Their tabloids all over the country were full of stories about a 29-year age gap. On July 19, they got married. 1966 in Las Vegas, after meeting 2 years before on a movie set. He asked Sinatra to tell her to stop acting. She said no. Cameras were always on them, and by Augustine 1968, the couple split up. After many years, she said they kept in touch. Up until the day he died. In 1968, she became the face of a brand new scary thing. She became famous all over the world after Rosemary's Baby. It made $33 million around the world, which is about $280 million today. She was nominated for awards. For a Golden Globe and a BAFTA. Her performance was so shaky and raw that even the scary parts of the story felt real. The film was put to the main film library record in 2014. In 1969, she was in the movie John and Mary with Dustin Hoffman. A movie that looked at close relationships during a decade when society norms were changing. It earned her $6.4 million and got her another Golden Globe nod. She was both weak and strong at the same time, showing that she was versatile enough to easily switch between styles. In the early 1970s, with See No Evil, which came out in 1971, she became known as the Scream Queen. She played a blind woman who was being chased by a killer and could only use sound and gut feeling. The movie was a hit, and it led to her playing more creepy parts. At the same time, she started using her fame to help people. She spoke out for UNICEF and pushed for better healthcare around the world, combining her work with she was politically active in a way that made her stand out in Hollywood. Mia Tukash got married to the famous Andre Previn in 1972 and started a new kind of life. Conductor who was at home in both classical music rooms and Hollywood studios. Because they were married, she was right between two worlds, and she kept that glow with her until 1974, when they both played Daisy Buchanan in The Great Gatsby. The movie that was a lot of money back then, $7 million, and Mia flowed through it in more than 30 outfits made by hand, some of which cost more than $10,000 each. At the Radio City Music Hall in New York, where 6,000 people saw her fly away from the cameras. Many people who saw her said she was soft, fragile, and disturbing. The woman seemed to be there and not there at the same time. Pages for Society. As she and Previn got used to living in Los Angeles, people watched her every move. Mia felt like a real movie actor at that very moment, even though she was already a TV star. Stepping into her own. During the same years, Mia and Previn let people into their house. They have 3 Korean kids named Suni, Lark, and Daisy. They are one of the few at the time Hollywood families were open to adopting children from other countries. Mia spoke out loud about how beautiful and different it was to raise a family with people from different countries and backgrounds. In 1978, even though she had kids who were getting bigger, she played Salem Otterborn in Death on the Nile. Stars like Peter Stenoff, Bette Davis, and John Wayne were on the set. Good. And Mia walked with her children through Egypt's old heat around the world. The movie made more than $36 million, and the cast it was so strong that even the backroom parts felt like the past. I liked how she worked long days on set and was still fully present for her kids. When her twins Matthew and Sasha were born, she had another family member. In 1970, and her son Fletcher came after in 1974. In 1977, around the same time, she went full circle. A quiet, scary movie shot on a very small, only £200,000 to spend. The whole movie was finished in just 28 days. In the movie, Mia played a mother who had lost her child and was haunted by ghosts. Hit close to home for her and called for a raw sadness that could break a crowd. Without having to say much. Critics said that her performance was moving, totally awful. People loved the movie and put it on lists of the scary movies of the 1970s. They also noticed how she nailed the role. Held this important job while taking care of 3 young children. It proved how focused she was even when she had a lot of things to do outside of work. After 8 years of marriage, her marriage to Previn ended in 1979. The word got around quickly because Previn was so well known in the music world. All of a sudden, Mia had to take care of 6 kids by herself. And soon after, another son. She became a part of the family when she adopted Isaiah Justice in 1980. She also played the lead role in Hurricane around the same time. The movie was shot on the islands of Fiji and cost a lot to make, $0.8 million. She was a storm survivor and took care of. She did a lot of the rough scenes herself, including some where real storm winds were blowing against her. The story, based on a true story from the South Pacific, and Mia gave the part her all with a sense of risk and being honest. The movie made $12 million around the world in the end. Again, people were puzzled about how she managed to do real acting work while also taking care of so many kids. In late 1979, everything changed. Mia was 34 years old and had 7 kids, and 8 was a rough past when she ran into Woody Allen at Ella's Diner after one of her shows on stage. Allen was 43 years old and already had an Oscar for Annie Hall, and their first date was a private showing of Manhattan. Things went well right away. They talked about movies, jokes, and life in a way that made the get rid of the age gap. They became close quickly because Mia brought a calm, bright energy that kept Woody's nervous and thoughtful personality in check. They didn't live even though they worked together full-time. They made a partnership that changed both of their careers for more than 10 years. By 1980, Moses was Mia's 7th child, and she adopted him from South Korea. It was a mix of their creative bond and their emotional one. In 1982, she played the lead role in A Midsummer Night's Sex comedy. And after some time, Allen helped her adopt Dylan in 1985 and raise Ronan, who was born in 1986. 1987. The talk about Ronan's dad never stopped. Even after Mia moved away, it was suggested that Frank Sinatra might have been the father. Still, no test was ever taken. In 1991, Woody took Dylan and Moses in as his own, but he always had his own place and moved back and forth between her world and his, while still spending time with the kids. Their lives mixed love, separation, therapy, and movies in a strange way. Allen often used that from real life in his writing. In 1983, she played Dr. Eudora Fletcher in Z-League, one of the strangest movies of that year. 10 years. Old news clips and real historical footage were mixed with new footage in the movie. Scenes of Mia and Allen and put them next to people like Hitler and FDR as if they had been through those times. It was so hard to believe the visual shocks. That people sometimes lost track of what was real and what was made up. People connected with Mia's steady, warm performance, which grounded the strange story. Being in the middle of the chaos. From behind the camera, her bond with Allen grew stronger, and she became his. Always on my mind for most of the 1980s. In 1984, she went even further when she played Tina in Broadway's Danny Rose, a tough, fiery cop's girlfriend in this black and white comedy. A talent agent is in a lot of trouble. For her work, was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy. She lost, but her nomination made her one of the most admired actors of that decade. Some people said that she was brave, and the movie felt like it was shaped by Allen's therapy sessions, as if real life kept slipping into the movie. Into stories. Mia stood out in the middle of that mix, showing how real she was. Good at playing strong, difficult women. The Purple Rose of Cairo. The story took place in 1935, and Mia played Cecilia, a waitress who was lonely. The movie hall was the only way out. When a character from a story comes off the screen and falls in love with her, the whole idea of what is real changes. Woody Allen got an Oscar for the movie. Mia's performance was praised for its softness and broken hearts. The show didn't make a lot of money, but it was a good mix of it. Was one of the most memorable movies of that time because it mixed magic and real life. At the same time, family life got busier. Mixed up. In 1986, Dylan and Moses were formally adopted by Woody. And on December 19, 1987, Mia gave birth to Ronan while Woody waited in the hospital. Their house from the outside, it looked stable, but on the inside, it was a mess of love, doubt. There were old memories and stories going around the family for years. In 1987, she was in Radio Days, a warm show about life in the 1940s. And after that September of that year, she played Lane, a woman caught in this deep storms of feeling. Because Allen threw out the first draft, the movie had to be made twice. First draft, but the finished one showed Mia at her most sensitive and fragile. The movie was panned by critics, but they also said that her acting was honest and made them remember it. Everyone who saw it. After many years, in 2013, Mia told Vanity Fair that when Ronan was a baby, pictures of Frank Sinatra were put in his room. Even though she broke up with Sinatra, she said they never really didn't love each other. Had split up with him years before. We were all shocked when she told them in private. Kept the story of Ronan's father alive in a way that makes people think. She took on another in 1988. The movie Woman is about sorrow and finding out who you are. She also played in 1989. A part in Crimes and Misdemeanors, a story about shame, betrayal, and making moral decisions. Both movies got great reviews, but Crimes and Misdemeanors even got 3 Academy Award nominations. When reviewers look back, they often say the moral storms in those movies seemed eerily similar to the trouble Mia would soon be in real life and Woody in the early 1990s. Ronald Farrow was born in Englewood on December 19, 1987. Hospital in New Jersey, 7 pounds 13 ounces. It looked like everything was okay. Mia Farrow said that Woody Allen was the father, and the world didn't question that at all. But almost from the beginning, in a whisper. Ronan's dark hair and bright blue eyes didn't look much like Woody. Some people said the baby looked more like Mia's ex-husband Frank Sinatra. Man who was known all over the world for his dark hair and blue eyes. There were even pictures of Sinatra in the nursery. While Mia rocked her baby, she played his old songs. The whispers got louder. Because everyone knew Sinatra had always felt close to Mia in a way that fully faded. It felt like the parallels were too strong to ignore. And soon the talk went from fans to reporters, and then from reporters to people in Hollywood. Don't let reports go away. The stories got stronger as Ronan grew. Mia was in love with Sinatra. She was her husband from 1966 to 1968, and their relationship was strong enough that friends felt the pull even after years had passed. It was said that in 1986, Mia and Sinatra got back in touch, and the time was just right. Sinatra had been sick for a while and was 71 years old when Ronan was born. In every picture, the resemblance was clear. The picture of Sinatra was kept by Mia in the nursery and told close friends that Sinatra might be Ronan's real father. Dad. Many years went by after that one quiet statement. Besides, even though Ronan became one of the most well-known writers of his time, the question never really went away. At the time, there was no scientific way to find out who the father was. Woody Allen just took on the part of dad. He sent money to support the child, visited often, and raised him as his own. Ronan sits on Woody's in early home movies. Mia films her while she sits on her lap and smiles, babbles, and talks into the camera. The family looked whole. But Mia kept telling her friends that Sinatra was still alive behind the scenes, might have been the real father. No one ever checked anything, so the world was left with a story that was half true and half fantastic. Ronan's name was changed by Mia in 1991. Satchel to Ronan to honor the Irish artist and her Celtic background. It was a private moment for her, but it didn't stop people from talking. All of the questions grew louder as Ronan aged, especially when pictures of him were shown next to Sinatra pictures. Ronald worked on movie sets when he was younger, including Woody Allen's movie Alice, which came out in 1990. Mia was a bored mother who tried to fix her life, and Ronan showed up as a small part. Following, many said the movie caught the real cracks in the family growing. It was said that Woody had been going out with younger people. Fans of Mia said they could see the strain right away. On the screen. It seemed like the movie had taken a softer view of what was going on. Behind locked doors. The quiet stress Alice felt turned out to be just the beginning, because what happened next would split the family in a way that no one could have imagined. Could have thought of. On January 13, everything went off. 1992. Mia Farrow was in Woody Allen's room in Manhattan with one off when she saw a stack of naked Polaroids on the mantel. The kids were going to therapy. They showed her 21-year-old Sunye Previn, an adopted daughter, was fully naked in front. Sunye's face, body, and legs spread out were all caught without trying to hide what they were doing. Woody said that he had taken the pictures the day before. He told Mia about it too. That the first time he and Sunye slept together was in late December 1991. He said the pictures were sexy but not pornographic, which is a statement later turned down by the appellate court. Something struck Mia. Said to be pure evil. The family was broken up by that finding. It meant the end. Of her relationship with Woody Allen, which started a fight between them that would last for decades. After a few months, on August 4, 1992, Mia's 7-year-old daughter Dylan told her that Woody had touched her private parts in Mia's Connecticut attic. She said that he whispered, "Do you know Squirrel?" he asked her as he touched her. Mia got a camera and started to record. Within hours of Dylan's report. That recording was one of the most important pieces of evidence in the custody case and is still one of the videos that people have talked the most about in famous history. Things changed for Dylan. At times, and detectives said she had a hard time telling the difference between fantasy and reality. The Yale New Haven Hospital's team didn't find any physical proof that Dylan, her mother's emotional problems may have had an effect on her, but the study found no proof that it was attacked for having too many interviews, losing notes, and making mistakes. Ways to. Because of this, The world was very confused and nothing made sense. Wasn't totally thrown out and nothing was proven. The family had already broken. It could no longer be fixed. On August 18, Woody Allen replied, 1992. He told reporters at the Plaza Hotel that nothing was true. He called they were false and outrageous, and they said Mia had taught Dylan as part of the fight over control. He said he was dating Suni and swore it was real. It was a personal matter. A lot of people watched the press session live. A few sides agreeing with Allen that parental estrangement was a real thing. Some people said the claim was a way to avoid being responsible. After that, there was a nasty and dramatic court case. The probe at Yale found no proof of abuse, but outside experts didn't like how the process was done. Even though Allen was given visitation rights with Ronan and Dylan, Mia was given main custody. No one was happy with the choice. Some people thought Dylan had been let down by the system. Some people thought Allen had been broken without proof. The papers that came out decades later show an investigation was hampered by mistakes, sadness, and anger. While all of this happened, Woody and Mia's last movie together, Husbands and Wives, came out in September 1992. It seemed so out of place in terms of time. The movie was about a pair that breaks up while the husband falls in love with a younger woman. It first opened in 865 theaters, made $3.5 million in its first weekend, and $10.5 million altogether. Million people in North America. Judy Davis was up for awards for her raw performance as the wife who was falling apart. A lot of reviewers said the movie looked and felt like a mirror. Held up against the chaos in real life. People really liked this movie, and not just because of the story. If not for the mystery that hung over it. Years went by, but the questions kept coming up. Apropos of Woody Allen, his autobiography came out in 2020. Nothing, and with one line shocked everyone. I believe Ronan is, he wrote, it was mine, but I wouldn't put my life on it. He had paid child support for 25 years, he raised Ronan as his own son and never asked for a test. But with that one line, he opened up an old wound again. The world was already in the statement added fuel to a fire that was already very hot during the Me Too movement. It wasn't a legal matter. It was written in a book meant to protect Allen's image and wasn't meant to be a public statement or plea. It brought up the old Sinatra stories again and made people angry at Allen again. He added fuel to the fire in 2013 when he tweeted, "We may all be Frank Sinatra's son." It was part joke, part admission that he wasn't. Without a doubt, Mia had said that Sinatra was her true love and had told everyone about it. People thought he might be Ronan's father. Sinatra's wife laughed it off, but Nancy Sinatra Jr. said Ronan was like family. People said the light blew Ronan's eyes, jawline, nose, and every other part of his face to the famous artist. No DNA test has ever been done, though. Some say it's for privacy, others for fear, and still others for Thea's secret is easier to carry than a fact that could hurt too much. The question sits there without scientific proof. The biography by Allen was dropped by Hachette Book Group in March 2020 after more than 75 workers quit, and Ronan Farrow spoke out against the publication. He said it went against the ideas in his book Catch and Kill, so the protest forced Hachette to pull the songs from the album and give Allen the rights again. Public opinion had changed, and publishers no longer didn't care about survivors. It seemed like a big change in how Hollywood scandals were handled. Then the internet came along. When it finally came out through another press, social media went crazy. Side-by-side pictures of Ronan and Sinatra went popular, and people joked that Ronan was Sinatra came back to life. Others criticized Allen for waiting 25 years to say he was doubtful. Dylan Farrow made the same claims again in an open letter from 2017 that came to light again, and it spread again, asking for movies with Allen to be banned. Her letter turned into a wave of protests showed that this family story was never simple. A tabloid story. It was hurt and scary, and it left a trail of questions that still don't have a full answer.